Ladies and gentlemen, settle in. It's time. It's time we come to face the reality that over the last 100 years, we let them come in to our schools, to our businesses, into our government. We let them in and we did not object to them until they were like that snake that Donald Trump talked about. They bought up our country under our noses. They put all sorts of regulations over the top of us, rules and regulations from the Federal Reserve Bank to taxation that no man was even supposed to be taxed. They took this republic that was given to us by our forefathers that are rolling in their graves right now. And now we're at the point of communism. They've been trying to do it for a long time. China is trying to buy us now. Election fraud for year after year, and nobody said much about it. We just accepted them. And now look, we're on the brink of being slaves like Hong Kong. China came into Hong Kong. Now they're carting them off to concentration camps. Wake up, America. We're like the frog in the pot. It's time. It's time to realize that the Republican Party and the Democrat Party were working together to be traitors to their country and for their own special interests were all sold out to big money in China. Basketball teams, Hollywood, communist propaganda that we just let our cable companies, which we pay them every month to make our children communists. Oh, yes. Have you ever heard of cultural Marxism, people? Cultural Marxism is where they take everything that is godly and do the opposite because Marxists hate God. How do I know this? Because Marx hated God. Marx was an atheist. He grew up in a religious house. His father was Protestant, but the family was Jewish rabbis. All those holy rollers and hypocrites in the family turned him to bitterness. And all of a sudden, we've got Engels and Marx in our living rooms today. The biggest thing that they did was break up the family so that we could pray to the state. Send in all sorts of pornography, slowly but surely, so that people would turn away from God and turn into perverts, child molesters. They did this to this country. They brought the heroin in. China, through Mexico. They brought the fentanyl in. They brought the drugs in. The cannabis, well, if you notice cannabis, years back, people used to be smoking grass, and it was this brown stuff. It had something that was very high and something called cannabinol, which made you go to sleep. But then they gave you that psychoactive green stuff, and oh boy, everybody went for that THC, and that's not to say that it was a bad thing for people because it really medicinally helped people. But they don't have prescriptions for it. They brought it in, and Monsanto in China wants to take that over too. I believe in responsible marijuana. I actually believe in not even psychoactive so much, but more CBD and cannabinol. But let us not get too much off on a tangent. Let us talk about the pharmaceutical companies, which are your doctors with their great coats on, acting like they're the authority. And you can buy your pharmaceuticals from China. You can get your water from the fluoride in a tap. You can go to the shelves of your store and buy the stuff that's on the shelf and try to read what's in the food that you eat. Are you getting it, America? Are you getting it? You've been had, and you're just this little sheep going this way and going that way. You're not roaring like a lion. You're just letting them come in and take over. I wanted to get into what the Patriot Party USA is, and it's going to take a little time. This is why we got to sit down and buckle on in here. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that there's a Patriot Party that actually exists now. It's in New Mexico and Arizona. If you want to join it, that's fine. But let me explain something to you. The Democratic Party and the Republican Party in history were two different parties, and they've completely been taken over by deep state Marxist operatives from China. The Democrat and the Republican Party now have been working together in this oligopoly, monopoly type um, control over us for a long time. So let's say we do get another party and we start to officially make it official. What's going to happen? George Soros' money is going to wind up there. People will infiltrate it. They'll try to regulate it. They'll tell you all about campaign finance laws and it's a mess. Any party that is a group of people has somebody that they pay to be the leader of the party. They have people in the party that become like these giant, donors and electors and people who own the party. Look at the Democratic Party, the money and the way that they manipulated the people. And same thing with the Republican Party. So somebody in the party or people in the party become powerful and they push the party this way and they push the party that way because it's not a party of the people, it's a party of the party. Now it becomes a business thing. And this is why parties don't work. So how does the Patriot Party USA work? It's you. It's all about you. And me, if I put it together, or people help me put it together the way it needs to be put together, it is organized. It's an organized idea. So let's say we want a candidate. First thing we do is we find people. And how do we find people? The biggest thing is to echo and roar. The more and more people who join on to the idea, the more and more people that are in our group. You see, you don't have to sign anything. There's no roles. Nobody's tracking you or sending you anything unless you want to hook up with small groups. You send no money. Well, how does the money get to the candidates? Well, we get a conglomeration of a lot of people, and as the channel grows and the channels grow and the people who are with this thing grow, we get people, let's say, that want to run against Lindsey Graham, or we want to throw Lindsey out, or whatever. We find a candidate, and then how do we find a candidate? Because we're growing so big, they want to reach out to us. They want our donation money. So let's say somebody like Steven Crowder puts them on the air. Or we have other people who have their channels or whatever, and they put them on the air. And we have these checklists. If we put you in office, you will do exactly what we say. And if you go against it and take any other money, we will have the power to petition to impeach you. Anyway, I'll have to cut to the next.